then talk about parking tickets, and then I'll hand it over to Mark to start us off. But so remind everybody, next week we are not at the Women's Club in the morning, so it's another offsite, but we will be at the Women's Club that evening. So about 5:30 is the Area 1 rooftop celebration. So we'll have a program from the district from 6 to 7ish, and then we'll go up to the rooftop and take other Area 1 clubs. So do not come to the Women's Club tomorrow or next Wednesday morning. Next, parking. They're going to validate, so everybody needs to put in their parking tickets to Bill. There's walking around right there. You want to return them.
They kept them. They took them.
If someone already grabbed them, you're good. If you have your tickets on, make sure they have them.
Okay. Well, with that, and Mark's going to remind you to do that again if you haven't already.
Thanks, Ross. And thanks for coming. You guys, if you were at the meeting in fall of 2019, I talked about this project, and a lot of nuances in it. I won't repeat all of that, but I want to highlight some features of the building, because when you're in it, I think this project worked with a lot of people, and I want to show it off. Appreciate you so much for coming and participating. We're really proud of the partnership that put this together. And then we're going to get a tour. So the timing is going to be welcome and breakfast. We've got that done. I'll make some comments. And we're going to take you on a tour of the Fillmore side of the building. And then we'll do the Element tour. And since we're too big a group to kind of lumber through the hallways, the hotel is, Bill, how many rooms?
156.
156, but how many did we sell last night?
151.
So it's a bit. So, back yet, but it's starting to work. And but that also means we're going to be walking by some rooms with people sleeping in them, and we want to be courteous to our guests if we can. So no running down the hall. Not a youth hockey team. It's not a hockey. But we'll split the group up. So we'll go through the Fillmore with Joe when he comes back up. And then we'll stagger the tours. We'll just divide the group roughly in half. We'll take a batch, and Sarah, director of sales, will be up here and take the second batch, and then we'll hand you back the tickets. But we're going to get you through the hotel too. There's some things we'd like to show you there. And so if you left your ticket in the car, don't worry about it. We'll buzz you out, I think. Bill, does that make sense?
Yep, no problem. We have them back on the way. So try to get you the tickets back if you don't have them. We'll get you on your way.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we had a lot of people involved in the project. United Properties, which owns the Polet family, owns the twins. We have worked with and it went really well. And so we got the band back together and did this project, which was in order of magnitude more complicated, but that was also a mixed use. And we like the extended stay hotel model, which you'll see in the Element. And we like United Properties a lot. There's a lot of things they can do in terms of, this kind of construction in a very dense, complicated area. There's crop at the. You guys hear me? Not quite. Okay. I'll try to project a little more. I'm not David though. So we had, in addition to just getting Marriott involved, a construction company, and architects and engineers, you also have Hennepin County and the city of Minneapolis, and you got this light rail entity, which is mainly in Hennepin County, but it's also Metro Transit, and so there's a fair amount of everybody had to work together, and generally people played pretty well. But it was about it was a May 2017. We started digging, and we opened in January 2020. I want to make sure we were open on the eve of the pandemic, and these guys opened like a month later. So they got to do about 3.5 weeks of shows. They opened on February 12th, Brandy Carlisle did 3 nights, sold out, just packed houses. There was a few other shows, and then we shut they shut everything down for nearly a year. Well, no, several months, but we all staggered through the pandemic as best we could. I'll mention that Kent Stone participated in this project, and there's a lot of complexity in the drawings, and we're going to walk through Ken's stairwell. I'll try to remember to point that out on the tour. We can do a bit on the north loop. Let's see. This is 1 minute long.
The North Loop is the hottest neighborhood in Minneapolis.
And we now have nearly 6,000 people who live in the North Loop. We have a burgeoning tech industry, commercial growth.
It's new, it's up and coming, it's trending, everybody wants to be there. There's new restaurants, there's new breweries, it's gonna be the place to be.
It's a community on the move, offering an exciting landscape of opportunities.
United Properties within 1/2 square mile has invested over $1 billion within the past decade.
One newly constructed mixed-use project creating a lot of buzz is the Element Minneapolis Downtown Hotel. The hotel sits above the Fillmore Minneapolis event venue and has dedicated parking and access to light rail at Target Field Station.
That was faster than I could have said all that. That's why it's there. There's a number of things you run into when you share a building. So we own the hotel. United Properties sold the Fillmore side to an investor, but it's really the Fillmore's real estate because they have a kind of a permanent lease on it, and it's a pretty special purpose space. But it is built as a performance theater, an event venue. So if you look at it, the sound, the way it's laid out, they got everything they wanted for. It's a fantastic experience. How many people have seen a show at the Fillmore? Where's Jimmy today? Anyway, a handful. It's rock and roll, but you're going to find something eventually that appeals to you, and I would encourage you to try it out. But we spent a lot of time coordinating uses and making sure it wasn't noisy, for our guests, because not everybody's going to a show. And we've got some rooms that are literally behind the stage, which preferably we rent to the band that's performing. But we have occasional noise complaints, but they're pretty rare. And there's a lot of mass in this building. There's a floating floor system, and that's on this slide. This is about 20 seconds, and you'll see, I may be able to pause it as it goes by.
The North Loop.
The building.
So, anyway, we're going to skip that video. This lid, and I'm not sure if it's here is the case, but certainly out in the theater, there's the concrete ceiling of the event venue, and then there's kind of suspensions. These are not down, but each suspension has a spring on it to isolate the vibration, and then there's a false ceiling that's substantial, that's able to hold all the ductwork and everything that Joe and his guys want to hang in there, so that it never gets rigidly attached to the structure and transmits the vibration. That's the theory, and it's largely working. The other thing that's useful is this. We're right up in Beachy, so the stage is at the other end, and we're up where that person is standing, I think, kind of behind there. That's Beachy's. This is about 200, I think, and I'll let Joe speak to how they use this space versus that space in combination. A couple of things that are pretty significant, though. These two black lines that are coming up behind the stage are both concrete walls, and there's an air gap between them. The top of the first concrete wall is not attached at the top; it's on a rail, and all of that's just designed to kind of absorb the sound. The bays that are underneath the stage have large subwoofers, but they're on springs. And again, that's just isolate energy. And then, of course, behind those two concrete walls is another air gap, and then a regular hotel wall, which is also a sound rated wall. It's hard to see in this picture, but the 4th and 5th floors of the hotel, there's 2 hotel floors that are only half the floor behind the stage. And then once you get to the 4th floor, the whole building's a big L, which you can see here. But the 4th and 5th floors have what's called a floating floor system. So there's a 6-inch floor. There's about a ½ inch to an inch of air, and then several hundred springs suspending another 4-inch slab of concrete. And the theory is that will absorb and stop sound transmission. All of the columns that go through to support the building, that go through the Fillmore, you'll see some round columns like these guys. This is holding up, I think this is a hotel column, but it's got a cementitious paste on it, insulation, and again, nothing in here is touching the rigid part of that column that goes up. And it was quite a piece of engineering. Morning. These are our guides that got you in here. We did all of that because Joe Gaspari, who I'm going to introduce, he's the general manager and he's responsible for this building for the Fillmore. Joe's going to come up and with a logo for you.
10's perfect.
The 10, yeah. I'm not sure why. Anyway, it's not that important. But when Joe likes to turn his music up, he generally doesn't bother us. And we really appreciate it. I want to thank you so much for allowing us to do this. He had a show here last night. I don't think you normally staff at 6:30 a.m. Been very gracious and just a great partner. So if you're going to just make a few remarks and then take a tour and
Sure.
questions as you want. Okay.
Yeah, I think the last time I was up this early, I catch a flight. But yeah, welcome to Fillmore, Minneapolis. We are part of Live Nation, just to kind of give you a little backstory on Fillmore's and how they evolved. The original Fillmore, San Francisco, if you're unaware, was the legendary Fillmore. And they really started doing shows. Bill Graham started doing shows in 1966. So he started doing promotions there. You know, all of our favorites like Hendrix, the Byrds, Grateful Dead was a big one. And that's how the Fillmore started to evolve. Now, enter a bunch of years later, Live Nation takes over. If you're not familiar with Live Nation, one of the largest or the largest concert promoter in the world. We have over 120 venues in this country alone. And I can start with, say, like House of Blues. We have 13 venues. And then Fillmore's, I think we're up to 10. Some of them, like in Irving Park Plaza in New York City, may say Irving Park Plaza, like at Fillmore or something to that effect. But anyway, yeah, we're up to 10 Fillmores. And then after that, you get into amphitheaters and such. I personally I opened up House of Blues Chicago in 1996, many years ago. I made my way here during the pandemic to the Varsity. And then the gentleman he and Mark opened the venue together. He left, and then I came in 2021, September of 2021. But just to kind of give you a little bit more information about this venue, we're in 36,000 square feet. They sell out about 1,800 people. And for the most part, we're really across the board in regards to genres of music. You know, we can do Latin, hip hop. Last night we had drag queens, rock and roll, blues, you name it, and we'll have every certain genre of music through. In a perfect world, the perfect year, not necessarily come out of the pandemic. By the end of the year, we could be up to 120 to 140 shows, depending on the year. However, this year we'll probably sit more about 80 shows with 20 to 30 special events. So obviously, 2023, we look to increase those numbers pretty drastically. But even for the summer, we've been fairly quiet with, outdoor festivals, or you have the big bands now touring through the amphitheaters and things like that. So traditionally, the clubs and theaters are much slower from, let's say, Memorial Day to Labor Day. What else do I have? You will see, I'll give you more pointers and fun facts as we walk through the venue, but I didn't know if you guys had any questions or if I can assist in any way. Yeah.
Do you book your own events, or does the organization book them for you?
Good question. So I do have a town buyer who will book the events. So she will book events. There's also touring out of Hollywood that will book events for us. So, whatever relationships they will have, they will draw a path through the country. And depending on the capacities that they want to hit, that will be the path of how they do the tour. We do also do rentals, meaning somebody that's not part of Live Nation, a promoter outside that has a relationship with any kind of artist or band, anything like that, will send people our way as well. So it really depends, but for the most part, I have my own buyer, but we also have things from corporate that are like, here, you're gonna do it whether you like it or not. Yes.
How do you use this room compared to the main?
So BGs, you remember when I started, I spoke about Bill Grant's. Bill Grant being a legendary promoter, so we built this. They obviously wanted to do tribute to Bill Grant, and then if I may touch on the lobby as well, you have some folks in the lobby, posters and whatnot, that also pay tribute to other Minneapolis artists. And then I'm sure you didn't miss the beautiful mural behind us of Prince. But this room will be a VIP room, so any kind of show, I'll charge Mark extra to come in here to use the restroom. Otherwise, we also have used it for Louis Tomlinson. Louis Tomlinson is part of One Direction. So he came out, did a show, and the fans are so crazy for him, they had to have multiple retail shops, merch shops. So this entire room was one, up here behind me, was one entire merch spot. We had the queue line of 500 girls through here, around here, and then snaked right through here. And I think we did almost $40,000 in merch just that day. Just, buying $40 t-shirts when you wash them and they're too small for you after that. So, yeah, but we'll also do special events. Special events is a big revenue builder for all of the indoor clubs and theaters. So, as you see on our tour, we'll see the Trax Burger and Bar, which is one space, this being another space, and of course, the large room. But even if there's an event in the large room, you say you just want maybe your VIPs in here, or maybe this is just home base for all the workers and things of that nature. Or maybe you want to get people off the floor so we can reset the floor and put everybody in here so that they're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes. So yeah, definitely a multi-purpose room, but the original idea was to create some sort of VIP experience.
You guys have a set shop and built all this stuff, I think.
Yep.
I remember going through that. So it's kind of like going into a theater and kind of imagining, backstage at the Guthrie where they built the set. They built this, all the stuff is custom.
Yep, and then a lot of the pictures, and depending on where you go in the country, we have a warehouse in New Orleans that houses all sorts of fun stuff. So usually if I'm like, the table's in the way, how can I get rid of it? I'll ship it down to New Orleans and put it in the warehouse and wait for somebody else to kind of want to recycle it through. So there is sort of a system.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Try to stay close to Joe because he'll knock. We're going to walk through the Fillmore.
Do you get first call on any libations that you want, or do they show you special? This is the MCOL, this is what the statement is on. Yeah, they told me about that. I know. Yeah, actually, that's what I got.
Wait.
They do.
So up here, we are part of the mezzanine. Again, want to point out the print mural that'll be behind most of you. Everything up here, I'll show you, we'll have VIP experience, and there is some GA as well, along with one bar, Prince bar, that's actually behind you to the left.
How does that work? Do you license with Prince's estate, because he's famous to do it anyway? How does?
Yeah, there was no licensing, nothing like that. You named the bar Prince, just like I could have named it Mark.
Oh, you're so close, Mark.
I said, yeah, top 10.
Yeah, that's right. And then if you did see the elevator that's right down this hallway, this elevator goes down to the lobby that we'll visit, and then also goes to the bottom garage, which then I can go to the bottom, get into my car, or go all the way over to the end of the hallway, which then goes into the hotel. So it's super convenient. Just kind of helps with our partnering and our dysfunctional family that we have together. We're gonna make it. Sorry, go ahead.
A question over here. Is the Fillmore typically partnered with a hotel, or is this unique?
That's a good point. None that I know of.
First one.
Yes.
First one, okay.
I know that there's been House of Blues and casinos and things like that, but nothing like this where our guests can party here and then go
Don't have to
the next
drive.
door. That's right. So that's, I mean, really, it's kind of a perfect scenario. if you think about it.
Yeah. Have we had any, let's watch. Have we had performers stay at the hotel or band people, not really yet?
Yeah, there's been a handful. I think El King did recently, Country Girl. A few openers and things like that, and they really appreciate the fact that they can be at their hotel room and then never have to go outside in the dead of winter. Let me see that.
We take photos.
Yes. Yeah, please help yourself in taking photos, and then all of these, we'll call them boxes here, that drop down a couple steps. These are VIP boxes, so there'll be all sorts of upgrades. So if you do buy a ticket for the show, you and your friend can come in, and then if you're not too excited about sitting on the floor, standing next to a bunch of folks, you can pay an upgraded price to come in here and kind of have your own private space without somebody bumping into you. I'll have somebody come and serve you. You name it, we can send it to you.
Is it all standing down there, or do you have seats?
It is all standing on a normal basis. Comedians and things like that, we will put seats in there. If I do seats, keep in mind I'm about 1850 capacity with everything you see here. If I do seats, I'll get to probably 600.
Outside voice.
Okay.
What's the cost of the upgrade?
Depends on the night, but usually 1 to 150 per stool. But again, that fluctuates depending on the night, and especially if I approach a bunch of you and you're like, no thanks, then eventually we'll figure that out and then lower our pricing. So we'll definitely be flexible in regards to the pricing.
The floor is all general admission then?
Correct. Floor is general admission. Across the way, you'll see that concrete slab, the double tiered general admission, where you and I are standing right now, our general admission, where those folks are right there. We will start out with ADA folks, wheelchairs, or people that just can't stand too long, or we want to try to have a more pleasant evening. We'll try to sneak a chair in there so that they're not standing. Again, the demand on that is obviously comes with depending on the band. Questions?
Best show so far.
It's not fair.
Your favorite.
Yeah. I've had probably So far, that's coming through here, probably the metal side, so it was Black Label Society, who is Zach Wild, who was Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist after Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
For those who are familiar with those guys.
That's after a couple of them died.
I was trying to be a little more sensitive, but yeah. So as we make our way this way, we're going to be going through green rooms, 3 green rooms, A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3, but they are all different sizes.
Do the bands bring any of their speakers and lighting in, or do you furnish it all?
It depends on their requirements. So, you know, a lot of times, Mark gets really excited when our semis block his folks from entering the hotel. Or buses, trailers, you know.
My tongue yesterday.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You know, we could get 2 semis, you know, 2 or 3 tour buses, depending on the van and what they want. Or if they're not carrying that, we will rent certain things in. You know, obviously we have our front of house booth, but sometimes it's just easier for them to bring in their own. So then we'll set it in front of that. So really sky's the limit. If they have it, they bring it, great. If they want us to have it, then we need to have that as well. Sure. So we're gonna go in here and then we can exit back out here.
Oh, I think we're gonna go down. We're gonna go right here. Perfect. Okay, I'll hold the door.
I'll check out any of these rooms. Mark, that's the largest green room behind you.
Oh, behind me. Okay.
Feel free to check out any of these rooms. No.
If these couches get tough.
Yeah, you know, oh, yeah. No, that's how the arguments are.
See people out. He can go. He can go. He can go.
See the Green Bay.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Maybe. No. Put a couple. That's right. And
Like Axl Rose, very deep. That's right. Yeah.
Been there. You had blue, I saw Buddy Guy, you had other blues artists here.
We have not had other blues artists, no. I'm a big fan of Buddy, obviously being in Chicago. I had, you know, he does a show at his club every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in January. So that's a good opportunity to check it out. And maybe, you know, the end may be near for him. He's 81 years old, so still tearing it up, but you know, it's fantastic. I can sit down in a chair right here and hear Buddy Guy in front of me. So it's pretty exciting. Feel free to step out of the stage as well. So the area you just walk through, you may have saw the black wall. That black wall will just you get to the line. Sold out, but throw their signature there, but obviously. That would be the backstage area. So maybe contrary to all of the myths and all that kind of fun, backstage area is really not that fun. You know, there's a catering area back there, and then you will do the load-ins from that elevator behind you that come up from the loading dock. So we'll push the cases into the Vader up here to the stage. Yeah, so this is pretty close to how you would feel if you were, you know, rocking with 1,800 people screaming your name and trying to like touch your ankles. We will put a barricade 99% of the time, which will house at least 2 security folks. Most of the time, the barricade's there just to keep drinks off the stage and, you know, keep any kind of opportunity for somebody jumping up onto the stage. Plenty of times, we do have a mosh pit. It does stay active. It may look very aggressive, but it's not. They actually usually have an understanding. Somebody falls, we pick them up. Some of the bands have like the wall of death. So an ADA mosh pit. One of the fun parts is they can do the wall of death. They'll split the crowd. They'll split them up. So you'll see a space down the middle, and they'll just say go. And then have everyone just run into each other. So that gets exciting as well. Any kind of body surfing, that kind of stuff, bands do encourage it. They want us, our guys to catch them coming over to barricade, be kind to them, shovel them to the side so they can go back and do it 10 more times.
Like a slide. Is this enough to protect people from walking off the edge? They do that every once in a while.
Somebody, you know, there have been times where not here, but you know, you kind of are singing to the crowd, and taking markers and whatnot on the floor, so people kind of look down and you can see where they are, so they're not just walking immediately off the floor.
But like all performers never generally, these guys are at a level, they're not high. Okay.
High, like
Drunk.
impaired. I would imagine somebody's got to be impaired at times, but
Helps the performance part.
but, you know,
That explains the rooters.
Sure, there are somebody that's just like, wow, that's too bad.
Speak up.
Drunk. Somebody earlier mentioned the chandeliers. The chandeliers will change to any color that somebody prefers. So that obviously works really well with special events. If they have a logo, they have certain themed colors, we can change that to accommodate them. Amanda, she's our lighting tech, and she's the magician behind it. We're gonna make our way off to your left.
Okay.
But I know Mark maybe would be able to touch on it more if you gave him some time. But I know, like he mentioned earlier, obviously the sound's super important and it's good sound here, but they took a lot of care into making sure that the sound wasn't impacting guests.
Oh, I'm not worried about the guests. I'm talking about.
What's that?
I'm in the music. I'm in the music.
Oh, okay. Please watch your step on the stairs. You go out that door right there. Mark mentioned earlier the subs that were on springs.
Look at that. Wow. Almost. So these things are endless. So those move, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's just a few of them.
Boom, boom, boom.
Joel, that I, you looking at
That's that base where you feel your sternum kind of rock. Yep.
But it wasn't really.
Yeah.
Standing room as well.
Yep.
Or-
They were. And with chandeliers, just a different number of chandeliers.
I walked by where the Fillmore East used to be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I do like it.
So if you're here for a show, you're standing here watching the show. I'll have security on the house right side, left, midway through, and then depending on the show, we want spotters. Keep an eye on folks. You know, we do a lot of barricade water. That way folks, you know, a lot of people don't want to lose their spots for obvious reasons. So well, either squirt some barricade or pass water, things like that, to make sure people stay somewhat hydrated. But our goal at that point is just to make sure there's no pass outs and things like that. Making sure everyone stays safe.
So what's the average age of the people on the floor?
Yeah, depends on the show. It could be 10 to 15 or, you know, 15 years old and you have 40-year-olds. So it's really
40 is sort of the max.
no, Mark's been here too.
We're gonna miss you.
We'll take your money at any show, dude. You got that right. That's nice. Any other questions?
David, you gonna do the mosh pit? Yeah.
Sound, yeah, sound check. Sound check. Okay. I'm gonna start using the.
Will you be sure?
Yeah, I think Eileen's up this week.
I believe Eileen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great system we have here.
Yeah.
It's a stick.
It's got a joystick.
It's got a what?
It's got a joystick.
Oh, that was slick. Nice. Well, I was wondering how on earth you're gonna do this.
I got you.
Oh.
Made my way to a borderline, looking up towards the friendly sky. Everything that I thought I had, taken all the show me grace, make me strong, make me believe it. When I go and I want to remember, don't let I'll be okay. Without my
All right, everybody form a mosh pit.
That's my style. Gonna shake your camera?
Dance. Let's see some dancing, people.
I am.
Yeah, we'll see the.
No, that's what the gimbal's for.
Recording.
The gimbal is to keep it steady.
Oh, okay. And I thought you were gonna do that to give viewers
The sense.
an idea of the
Wait till it puts
vibration.
the X-ray filter on, then we can see what you're wearing.
Or not.
Not that kind of a show, Doug. Not that kind of a show.
Dollar.
That's great. Yep.
So here we are in the lobby. All the guests will enter through here. Everybody will go through a screening process. I have 4 metal detectors that will line up here. Sold out show, 1,800 people. If they all line up ahead of time, I could do 1,000 people in 45 minutes to an hour, screen efficiently and not half-assed. So that's something that we've had to get better at. But of course, you know, when you have 1,800 people just scattered throughout the sidewalks and all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure you keep an eye on them, and obviously other elements that come into play when you're having just not yourself, but especially like younger kids and things like that. Making sure people are staying safe and then entering the building as well in a safe and efficient manner. Also, Trash Burger Bar. I know I work here, but it's a really good burger. You can see that I should probably skip a meal. But please walk around the Trash Burger Bar. You know, on a day of show, perfect spot to go before a show to pre-party, or if you're going to a Twins game, again, very ideal. So please check it out. Great space. They open all the time. Closed on Monday and Tuesday. Open all the other days. Open every day that there is a show.
It's not one of
Go say that joystick.
You don't think.
Still hit my
Yeah.
my kids borrow and take.
Yeah, We should do a happy hour here sometime.
I think she thinks, well,
What is the model?
One of my things. I mean, bring it down so it's comfortable.
I can give you a name so you can email. Right this way, folks. Amanda, can you make sure everyone makes it upstairs? In case anybody gets lost, just point them upstairs. Thank you.
We're gonna divide up into two groups, and we're just gonna stagger two groups so we can get them through the hotel. If anyone has to leave, you can walk out through the hotel, make sure you get a ticket back. But that'll take about 10, 15 minutes, okay? So you wanna eyeball? Okay, in this group, you folks follow me.
You just split them up in there?
Yep,
Yeah, sort of.
they'll probably all come.
So come on down to the end here. Got people with us? It's a cost to see in the Fillmore is you got to see the hotel.
No, I'd say the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Come on in. We're going to go down and up. Okay. So we're in the venue. And one of the features is if you're a performer and you have a hotel key, you can come back into the hotel. We're going to go in hotel 3 here. We got some rooms to show you, but these two hotel floors are just a half a floor. Yeah. They might want a full service hotel that has a restaurant late, all hours.
Also, I'm Marissa. I've seen you.
Was Element Minneapolis. Oh, neat. Awesome. Come on. So now, I'm just going to say, we're going to walk by the room with the balloons are the ones that are open. So just to show you the proximity, now we're going to this is a typical. We call this a typical 1 bedroom or 1 bath. Smells nice. Very nice.
Very nice, yeah.
There's a nice smell to it. Fresh.
Okay. So when you go up. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to go down this. We're going to go down to around 200. I think, it might be 169, very weak right now because we're small. Could be. We should be getting 400 on a busy night. These are really nice. We'll get back. This is the big question. That's my keyword because I've got to discuss the problems. Yeah. Oh, Jerry's room. All this stuff. This is like a upgraded SDC. It's not on that window. Pretty solid.
Is that?
Not always. Here's our fitness center. Oh, yeah. We'll try not to bother you too much. So we're now overlooking the ceiling of the Fillmore.
Rocks jump during show.
Leg day.
This is a standard. Correct, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, so I'm gonna take. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is this one? You want to really.
And I don't, so that's full blast.
I don't know if you can hear, this sounds like air, but it's actually white noise.
And what it does is sort of drown out other sounds. That was, I guess, a safety measure in case all the insulation and other pane glass.
So I haven't noticed.
This is it in this hotel.
Okay, because of the bigger space that if you're gonna have an advantage.
Yeah, and in this prototype, this is a very uncommon. Great relationship with them. And when Rick, in that little video, he said $1 billion. That building is theirs. Be the Match, they developed. They're involved in the Twins. They did this. And then they've got the Nordic over on Washington. That's, $1 billion wasn't counting that building. It's incredible. There, we would go down to the parks more. Remember that elevator you came up? Oh, come up that elevator. You're literally, about 100 steps. All inside except for just the last little bit from this thing sticking up. That's the elevator approximately. We're gonna go back. Bye, Brock. It should be open. Yeah.
Is that door open?
No.
We make it go in the back. You got it on the clapper.
You know what? I think the speed card reader doesn't work. So I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
You got the Kirkland one up.
Yeah, damn it. All right.
Yeah, let's just break it open.
I'm gonna come down the other end.
Actually, we're gonna come around.
I was up late last night writing user tests.
Oh, were you really?
UX and UI, little both.
I watched you design our website. See if it's
Yeah, so, yeah. I worked on
So one more room and then we go down.
Oh, like a series.
Oh, that. What's that in over?
I want to walk behind the camera.
Nice guy. Come walk tonight.
What's the name?
Did you get put on the dirt? Yeah. I just got like this.
That sounds. I keep thinking.
Here we go.
Yesterday, we started
Mark, I gotta run.
Yes.
Okay, just go down the elevator and out through the garage and the ramp.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I was gonna say.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
This is a great corner.
Yeah, to see her.
Did you? What'd you do?
I was never thought I was spending my mom as a food and beverage director.
Oh, really? Oh, so yet.
So then just down and out. Down to the lobby. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm glad it's going well for you.
Yeah, I don't think we have it by 7 or 6.
You can stay here. You can stay here in that beautiful room we last looked at.
Room for
More the
more.
merrier? Hello.
Going down.
Be patient, Ed, be patient.
I want to see your face again.
Is there. Yeah. I did it the first time not that long ago. It was like, we were so easy to get in, so.
This is it. Oh. So it's actually on this side, we're facing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming over. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to find out.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right. Wave goodbye.